All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we've got something really fascinating for you, a kind of intellectual puzzle that sits right at the intersection of math, symbolism, and the Quran. We're basically going to go on this journey to see if there's a hidden logic, a hidden code even, tucked away inside a sacred text. And we're going to be looking at it through a pretty unusual lens.
And it all kicks off with this one kind of mysterious number, 76,923. Now, if you just look at it, it's just a number, right? Doesn't seem to mean a whole lot. But within the specific way of looking at it we're exploring today, this number is actually presented as the key that could unlock a much, much deeper story.
So when you first see the analysis, it looks something like this. And yeah, it's a pretty complex, almost cryptic-looking bunch of equations. You can see it kind of jumps from simple addition, then suddenly we're talking exponents, and then boom, it's pointing to specific verses in the Quran. It's a lot to wrap your head around at first glance, for sure. And that really brings us to the core question of this whole explainer. What are we looking at here? Is this just a random jumble of numbers that happen to line up in a cool way? Or is it something more, an intentional key designed to unlock a deeper meaning? So let's dive in and try to figure this out. All right, first things first. To even begin to crack this thing, we've got to break down the math. Let's follow the numbers and just see where they take us. So the first move is actually super straightforward. You take that big number, 76,923, and you just split it into three smaller chunks, 7, 69, and 23. You add those together, and what do you get? A nice, clean 99.
Now, that number, 99, isn't just random. In Islam, it's a huge deal. It's not just any number, it points directly to what's known as the Asmaul Husna, the 99 beautiful names of Allah. You know, names that describe his attributes, like the Creator or the Merciful. So this is our first really big clue that something might be going on here.
Okay, but this is where the analysis takes a really strange turn. If you look back at that original string of equations, you'll see it makes a jump. It equates 792 with 729. Now, mathematically, that's just, well, it's wrong. 792 is not 729. And this is a massive hint that we're not playing a pure math game anymore. We've kind of stepped into the world of symbolism, where the destination, that number, 729, is way more important than the literal steps you take to get there. So you got asked, why 729? What's so special about that number? Well, it turns out it has this really beautiful mathematical harmony to it. Get this. It can be expressed as 3 to the power of 6, and as 9 cubed, and as 27 squared. It's like this perfect multi-layered number. And within this framework, that perfection is seen as a symbol of divine completeness, of a hidden, intricate order. Okay, so now we have our two key numbers, 99 and 729. But so what? How in the world do they connect back to the actual text of the Quran? I mean, this is the part where the whole idea either works or it doesn't. All right, the first textual connection we're pointed to is in Surah 96. And this verse is all about the creation of human beings. So that becomes our starting point. You could say it's the main premise of the whole argument that's being built here. Then the analysis jumps us over to a totally different chapter, Surah 9. And the verse there, it shifts the whole focus. Now we're talking about repentance, forgiveness, and divine mercy. So, okay, now we've got two big, distinct ideas on the table. Creation on one side and mercy on the other. So let's get to the final piece of this puzzle. How do we connect these dots? How does this whole system of interpretation build a bridge between the idea of creation and the idea of mercy? Let's see how it all supposedly comes together. So the entire analysis really hangs on this one key concept from Quranic studies, and it's called munasaba. Basically, it's the idea that there's a deep, logical, thematic connection between all the different parts of the Quran, even verses or chapters that, on the surface, seem totally unrelated. And this whole numerical framework we're looking at is basically an attempt to shine a light on that hidden connection. Now, using what the source material calls a logic lens, a kind of rational sequence starts to take shape. Think of it like this. Creation is the premise, right? That's step one. That's followed by the condition, which is divine guidance. And what's the final outcome of that relationship between the creator and the creation? Well, it's mercy. It's forgiveness. And this is where our original number, 99, comes back into play in a really cool way. Those 99 names of Allah, Names like the Creator, the Most Gracious, the Most Merciful, they're not just a list of separate ideas. In this view, they become the conceptual glue, you know? They are the divine attributes that create a logical bridge, connecting the theme of creation all the way over to the theme of mercy.
So, after going down this pretty intricate rabbit hole of numbers, symbols, and verses, what are we supposed to take away from all this? What does an analysis like this ultimately reveal?
Let's just quickly recap the journey we took, right? We started with this seemingly random number, 76,923. We saw how it gets decoded down to 99. That number, 99, symbolizes the names of Allah. And those names then become the key that builds this powerful thematic bridge between creation and divine mercy. And in the end, it all comes together to form this single, coherent, spiritual story.
And that leaves us with one last big question to think about. Is an analysis like this actually uncovering a pre-existing code, something that was intentionally embedded in the text? Or is it a really profound, really structured, and ultimately very human way of finding and illustrating deeper layers of meaning that are already there in a sacred text? Now that is a question worth thinking about.